To build a tangible car, a manufacturer pays for physical steel, glass, rubber, and the human labor to piece it together on an assembly line. If they want to build a second car, they have to pay for all of that material and labor a second time. The physical costs scale linearly right alongside production. But the digital economy broke this physical rule. Developing a complex software suite or training a massive AI model might cost millions upfront. But creating a second copy of that software, or a millionth copy, costs virtually zero. Under standard free market economics, this should have a predictable outcome. Competition naturally drives the price of any product down toward what it costs to reproduce. When reproduction is virtually free, the price tag should eventually hit zero. Tech giants like Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft command trillion-dollar valuations because they have abandoned the rules of traditional production in favor of a different economic logic. Back in the late 20th century, traditional manufacturing became highly efficient, but it eventually ran into a brick wall of profitability. Over a century earlier, Karl Marx identified exactly why this happens, calling it the tendency of the rate of profit to fall. This formula shows the math behind the theory. Profit rates equals S over C plus V. S is surplus value, the new value created exclusively by living human workers. C is constant capital, the dead machines and materials that only transfer their existing cost. When an industry automates to stay competitive, they buy expensive machines, causing the bottom of this equation to explode. But because they fire the human workers, the top of the equation, the source of new surplus value, dries up. This triggers a state of overaccumulation. The global economy ends up with trillions of dollars in surplus capital sitting idle because physical production no longer generates an acceptable rate of profit. That massive pool of cash had to find a new frontier to grow. Capital fled the physical world and poured straight into the internet. But if tech products cost $0 to reproduce, how do these platforms extract wealth from them? They engineer artificial scarcity. Through strict intellectual property laws, encrypted software locks, and subscription paywalls, tech companies build invisible fences around infinite digital space. They do not sell new value per unit. Instead, they act as digital landlords, extracting a monopoly rent for granting you access inside their walled ecosystems. Take cloud platforms like Amazon Web Services. They own the physical servers and data centers that power the web, extracting a continuous toll from millions of other businesses just for the right to exist online. Or look at product platforms. Manufacturers like Rolls-Royce retain ownership of their jet engines and rent them out by the hour. They transform a one-time physical sale into an endless subscription loop. Lean platforms like Uber own almost no physical assets at all. They operate as digital gatekeepers, taxing every single match made between gig workers and writers. These platform models now generate wealth primarily through digital monopoly rent, rather than traditional manufacturing profit. In the mid-19th century, Marx predicted a phase where the primary driver of wealth would no longer be physical muscle, but accumulated social knowledge embedded into machines, a concept he called the general intellect. Today, generative AI represents the purest form of that general intellect. These algorithms ingest, map, and output the collective scientific and cultural knowledge of humanity. Big tech systematically scrapes this massive pool of human knowledge, locks it behind proprietary algorithms, and then charges the public a subscription fee to access their own collective data. It is a parasitic relationship. The technology feeds off historical human labor and uncompensated data, rather than generating brand new economic value on its own. This level of rent extraction has triggered a fierce debate among political economists. Has big tech's rent extraction model created a new era of technofeudalism? Theorists like Varoufakis argue that open markets have been replaced by private cloud fiefdoms. Everyday users act as cloud serfs, producing free data to pay tribute to the digital lords who own the platforms. Others argue this is simply digital capitalism, the hyper-monopolized stage of traditional capital accumulation, still heavily reliant on physical infrastructure and wage labor. But the specific label matters less than the solution. The root problem is the rent extraction model restricting the potential of advanced technology. To break out of these walled gardens, economists point to decommodification, This means stripping digital infrastructure, cloud networks, and open-source AI of their status as private market assets, and treating them instead as guaranteed public utilities. By decoupling basic survival from market labor, guaranteeing housing and digital tools as public rights, society can convert the zero marginal cost of automation into disposable time. Legislated workweek cuts, like France's reduction to 35 hours, show that turning machine efficiency into the direct liberation of human time is a matter of policy, not just technology.